Do I have to water in the products that come with the Turf Trust Triple Play? When do I put down Moss Max? And can I use Garden Trust now on my perennial gardens? Folks, I've got answers to these questions and more coming up on Garden Sense. Hey everybody, I'm Tim Ward and welcome back to Garden Sense. Well folks, today is March 12th and I've got to tell you the emails have really been coming in and we are quite busy here at Garden Sense and obviously over at Rosen's Online, given all of the orders that you guys have been placing. So thank you very much for your business. It means a lot to us. Folks, with all the emails coming in, we had a lot to sift through, but we've actually selected 5 that we want to address right here, right now, that are going to impact you the most. So buckle up, everybody. Let's jump right in. The first question is from Peter. Tim, I ordered the Turf Trust Triple Play. What are the watering instructions following applications of lawn maintenance fertilizer, broadleaf weed control with Gallery, and Turf Trust crabgrass control with Dimension? All right, so let's first start with the fertilizer. One of the great things about Turf Trust fertilizers is that they do not need to be watered in. In fact, just the morning dew every morning is enough to cause those granules to start breaking down and to slowly feed your lawn over the course of 12 to 13 weeks. So you do not need to water in the fertilizers. However, the weed controls, we definitely recommend that you water those in. And the reason for that is we actually want all those granules to break down and release the chemicals to create that barrier on the soil surface. So do not water in Turf Trust maintenance fertilizer. Do water in Gallery and do water in Dimension. Again, we want to create that chemical barrier, so spending a couple of minutes after application to make sure it gets nice and wet is definitely going to allow that barrier to be established much quicker. The next question is from Karen. Tim, currently my side yard has about 45% of moss growing. When do I apply Moss Max, now or in the spring? So you can put down Moss Max as soon as the moss is actively growing. So again, assuming that it's no longer that brownish kind of tan color, it's green or it's starting to get green, that's when you can safely put down Moss Max. And the good news is you can put down multiple applications. So don't just think you need to put it down once and all of a sudden it's going to eradicate the problem. That's not going to be the case. You're going to need to put down more than one application, especially because it sounds like with 45% of your side lawn being moss, you really are going to need to put down more than one application. The primary ingredient in Moss Max is iron, and so believe it or not, even using Turf Trust fertilizers which contain iron is also going to help cut down on your moss problem. The third question is from Mike. Tim, I recently had the sewer pipe replaced in my front yard. Now I have a filled dirt mound with a little topsoil mixed in here and there. Should I add anything to the soil before putting down seed? All right, so if it were me, these are the steps that I would follow. The first thing I would do is make sure that you add some topsoil to the entire area. You said right now it's mostly fill dirt with a little bit of topsoil. I would definitely add more topsoil to improve the overall quality of the dirt that you're trying to grow grass in. Then I would put down the seed, and at the same time, I would then put down Turf Trust Professional Starter Formula. This fertilizer contains 2% phosphorus, which is really important to helping that new grass become established. So after you've gotten the topsoil down, you've put down the seed, and you've put down Turf Trust fertilizer, then what I would do is actually cover the entire area with Easy Straw. Easy Straw is 99% weed-free, and it has a binding agent in it so that when it gets wet, it actually sticks together and creates a really nice protective barrier over the seed, and that's what we want. It also holds moisture really well, so when you water that grass seed once a day, especially for those first couple of weeks, it's actually going to retain the moisture much better if you use Easy Straw. Finally, I would make sure that I put down Kickstart at least once a week for the first couple of weeks to really help that root system get established. So just to recap, put down topsoil, put down the seed, put down Turf Trust Professional Starter Formula, cover it with Easy Straw, and then water it with Kickstart a couple of times a week. And honestly, within the next couple of weeks, you should really see that grass start to come in green and healthy, and you'll be really, really glad that you followed these steps. The next question is from Nancy. Hi, Tim. I live in Alexandria, Virginia. When should I apply Garden Trust to my perennial beds this spring? Also, many of the perennials were planted under an existing large maple and a white pine whose root systems are now choking the roots of the perennials and stunting their growth. What is the downside if I were to raise the soil level around the trees to give the perennials more root-free soil? Or will the roots just start spreading up into the new soil? All right, so let's first deal with Garden Trust. You can put down Garden Trust for your perennials as soon as you start to see them green up or buds start to form. That means they're actively growing, and that's a great time to put down Garden Trust. Now, the second half of your question, you're actually on the right track. So anytime you have, plants underneath large trees, the tree's root structure is just going to absorb most of the nutrition, and any of those plants that you have around there are not going to do as well. But that doesn't mean they can't do well. So you're absolutely on the right track in the sense that you want to try and raise the soil level around that tree up several inches. That is going to provide those perennials that we talked about more room to grow. Now, we didn't talk about transplanting if you're digging them up or what, but at the end of the day, if you can add several inches, and I'm talking, 4 to 6 inches of topsoil, real good quality soil around that tree, and then plant directly into that, that's really going to be your best option. The unfortunate issue is this is going to be an ongoing problem. Again, erosion happens, so at some point you're going to need to raise that soil level up again, because all that soil is going to settle. It's going to become compacted. So if you do it right the first time, it should last for a couple of years. But again, I don't want you to think that just raising it one time, 4 to 6 inches, is all of a sudden going to solve your problem. This is something that you're probably going to need to continue to do every couple of years. Good luck, and I can't wait to see some pictures of the progress. The final question for today is from Tony. Tim, I have a fairly thick area of Carex ornamental grass, but always seem to get crabgrass. Can I use gallery and dimension weed control on the Carex grass? So you could put down both products around your Carex grass, but you got to be careful in terms of how you do it. Either one of those products can damage Carex grass, and so you want to make sure that none of the granules come in contact with the plant itself. So what I actually recommend doing is, get some gloves on, try and group all of the grass together and hold it with one hand, and then with your other hand, actually manually sprinkle the dimension or gallery around each plant. Make sure that it's all settled on the soil, and then let go of the plant so that those grass blades actually will then fall back down naturally. See, again, if any of the chemical gets on the Carex grass, it can damage it. If enough gets on it, it could kill it. So it's a beautiful grass. They're just amazing plants, but you just want to be really careful when you're applying this type of product around it. The other thing you could do is you could actually try to use a product like an Image weed control, which will actually kill crabgrass as well. But again, you have to be really careful in terms of holding that grass together and then trying to spray around it to kill any crabgrass that comes up. If any of these chemicals get on the plant, it could very well kill it. At the very least, it's going to damage it. So yes, you can use both of the products. Just be really, really careful. If you do it right, it is going to create a really nice barrier of protection around that Carex grass, and that should really prevent any new crabgrass from germinating or any of those broadleaf weeds from popping up. All right, folks, just a couple final thoughts before we wrap up this week's video podcast. Folks, this coming weekend is March 15th, and if you follow our lawn calendar, then you know that it's time to put down Turf Trust fertilizers and Turf Trust broadleaf weed control with Gallery. Now, the good news is, over at rosensonline.com, we have the Turf Trust Triple Play going on, and 2 of those 3 products that are in that package you need right now. So head over to rosensonline.com and take advantage of this special offer. Folks, it's going to give you the Turf Trust fertilizers, it's going to give you Gallery, and it's going to give you Dimension, which you're going to want to put down in a couple of more weeks anyway. So head over to Rosens Online, take advantage of the sale price that we have going on, and it's going to qualify for free shipping. Now, I've mentioned this a couple of times already these last few video podcasts, but I want to remind everyone that if you spend $200 or more with an order at rosensonline.com, we're going to give you a free bottle of Kickstart. If you spend $300 or more, we're going to give you 2 free bottles of Kickstart. You know how much we love Kickstart. It is a very, very versatile product. I use it personally. I absolutely love the results. You can use it on your grass. You can use it on your trees, on your shrubs. You can use it on your bedding plants, on your flowers. You can even use it with your potted plants. So again, make sure that you're thinking about that if you've got a big order or you think you need to place a couple orders, maybe wait, group those all together so that you can qualify for those free items, those free bottles of Kickstart. Folks, as always, if you have questions, you would like to either get your question on our program or you just need some help and you really need some feedback from us, make sure you send an email directly to me, tim@rosensonline.com. Folks, I need about 48 hours to answer all these questions. I know some of you will send me a question in the morning and you'll send a question about if I'm going to get back to them later that evening. Folks, I need about 48 hours. We service thousands and thousands of customers at rosensonline.com. So as you can imagine, I get a lot of questions from customers that we have to address on a daily basis. It hasn't become too unmanageable yet, but give another couple of weeks once we get into April and May, and I'll be getting hundreds of emails a week, and that's a lot to sift through. So again, give me about 48 hours before you hit that panic button and try to reach back out to me. I promise you that if we receive the email, we will respond to it. Thank you so much for all the time that you've spent with us today. It really means a lot. Obviously, Garden Sense as a video podcast has been rapidly growing, but we've seen so much growth over at rosensonline.com as well in terms of all the orders that you're placing. So thank you so much for supporting our small business. It really does mean a lot. Folks, I hope you have an amazing rest of the week. God bless.